Hi, my name is Jonathan Gainey, and I'm a student at Gordon Commonwealth Theological Seminary. I'm also a full-time pastor, have been for about 9 years now. I'm looking into, in this video, we're going to discuss just a little bit, just for a few minutes, about what's going on with the paradigm shift in some people's minds about hell and heaven and life after death. Some of the greatest writers on these topics are people like N.T. Wright. He does a lot of videos. You can look up N.T. Wright on YouTube, and you can watch him teach. You can see him share, and he's a brilliant writer. He's got lots of books. In fact, I think I have one that I brought here just so I could show you one of my favorites, and that's the New Testament, and the New Testament and the People of God. It's a very good book for people who are struggling, in my opinion, with faith, and they're sort of dancing around the idea of agnosticism. Because he shows that a lot of what we're confused about has more to do with paradigm shift, has more to do with worldview than with the literal writings of the scriptures. Also, there are other people who are delving into the deeper cultural understandings of the scriptures. And what I'm talking about there is that Jesus was Jewish, of course, and he lived in a Jewish world. He taught to Jewish people, and his culture, the way he saw things, the paradigm shift for us when it comes to understanding their colloquialisms is required. We have to be able to look in and say, this isn't a Western book. The Bible was not written by Western people, although there are a couple of books that were written by non-Jews or non-Jewish people. For the most part, the Bible is a Jewish book, a book of Jewish understandings and cultures and languages. So as we look into the scriptures, and we can all debate those kinds of things, but the New Testament was written in Greek, and that can be argued. David Bevan makes a wonderful argument that the first time that these things were shared with the disciples and the people who wrote the New Testament, especially the Gospels, the Synoptics, the first three, Matthew, Mark, Luke, were all originally shared in Hebrew. Many will argue that it was in Aramaic. Like I said, David Bevan makes a great argument. He's written a book called Understanding the Difficult Words of Jesus. Does a very good job of helping us to understand that. There are other people who are looking into the culture of Jesus, and we're starting to see things that we didn't see before. For instance, Anne Spangler and Lois Tiverberg wrote Sitting at the Feet of Jesus. You can see that. And then there's also cultural books. My goal is to help people to look for yourself. Don't take the words of anybody necessarily, but dig yourself and look yourself. There's other books like the History, Culture, and Religion of the Hellenistic Age. This is the second edition by Helmut Koester. You can see that book. And there are others. We have one of my favorite writers also is Brad Young. And Brad Young wrote the Jewish Jesus, the Jewish Theologian. And it helps us to understand many of his words and his parables from a Jewish perspective. So before we dive in ourselves, before we dig into whether or not you agree with this person or that person about the words of the Bible, try to look up yourself to see what others are saying. Try to, if you don't have the ability to read the ancient languages, like some people have the privilege of doing, then read good commentaries. Look at up-to-date commentaries with newer scholars. And there's nothing wrong with the older ones. They're great, except that today we're learning more things. We're learning new things, especially being able to get into Israel and look around and touch things. So I just kind of want you to see in this short video that before you dive in to the debate and the argument, educate yourself and make sure that that you, I don't want to be rude and say know what you're talking about, but know who you're talking about, know where you're getting your information, and do your best to give everybody a fair shake, not as if to say everybody is right, but to say, let me hear you first. As one person said, first seek to understand and then seek to be understood. And I want to close this one with a wonderful a quote by Jim Pluteman, where he said, "The biblical text is without error and is inspired by God, but my interpretation is not." God bless.